All right. Hi, everyone. Today I have a very inspiring person, Adarsh, with us on the podcast today. He is the founder of Skillzo and Ignite Bharat and a TEDx speaker as well. A small town from Bihar and then impacting like over around 10,000 plus students is amazing. Thank you so much for being my guest today. I'm excited to have you up.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to be here and really excited for our conversation. Just a bit of small corrections. Just Ignite Bharat is an initiative under Skillzo, so not in a separate
Okay.
initiative kind of thing.
Okay.
Second, Skillzo has impacted over 19,500 students. I just want to correct the numbers. 10,000 is in the previous number. I think somewhere it's not updated, and the previous content you'd see, so it has mentioned 10,000. But
Okay.
after a few partnerships and all, the number has now reached to 19,500.
Okay, got it. Awesome. But that's a good
Yeah.
number as well. I mean, 500 is not a joke, so that's awesome. Okay, so amazing. So Adarsh will be starting up with some rapid fire questions, and then we'll be just diving on to with few questions and your life journey. So, are you ready for that?
Sure.
Okay.
100%, let's go.
Yes, let's go. Okay, so first, how will you describe yourself in three words?
Uh, Dream big, do big.
Okay, nice. That's amazing. Visionary. Okay, so if you get a chance to have dinner with a person you really inspire, who will that be and why?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like dinner with someone like
You really inspire.
I'm really inspired by.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe Nelson Mandela.
Okay, that's awesome.
He's no more like in the world, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
5 years from now, uh, somewhere like doing some groundwork, maybe back in Bihar, probably.
Nice, that's awesome.
Probably back in Bihar. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So now we'll be diving on to with your background. I'll be just telling you the structure. So your background, some initiative you took with Skillzo and Ignite Bharat, and some advice you can at last give to high schoolers to wrap up.
Sure.
Done. Okay. So talking about your background, so you came from Bihar. So tell us about your whole journey and when did that entrepreneurship when did you started with this entrepreneurship mindset and trying to impact your society for that?
Yeah, sure. So you mentioned correctly that I was born in Bihar. I come from a very humble background. Very simple. Like we have a very simple life, and a very basic understanding of what the world is, what how to go ahead with life. There was a very simple invitation key. You go to a government school, then you do this, that, then you maybe try for some. If you're very lucky, then you get the maximum exposure of competitive exams. Ki the teachers to become government teacher exams to become government teachers. The max you get to know is कि UPSC कर लो life change हो जाएगी. It's Bihar,
Hmm.
and this notion that Bihar produces the maximum number of IAS and IPS officers. So that's the biggest dream you could have growing up there. I grew up, in a family where we went through a lot of tough times. I want sort of take much time and describe those times, but they were tough times. Potentially you can, from poverty to social stigma to so many other things, right? When you sort of grown up in such situations, you either sort of ऐसे like हिंदी में कहते हैं या तो आप निखर जाते हैं या बिखर जाते हैं.
Yeah.
So I was very lucky enough that I sort of came to the category of Nikhar Jana, and so my mom is very rebellious, and she fought at home and got me admitted into a private school. That was the best school in the town.
Wow.
Very, you know, I even can't describe in words the amount of hard work she has, done, and the amount of, like courage she has shown to move to a.
Credit goes to her.
That is, yeah, that is only 20 kilometers away from home. But I understand that that place, is like maybe thousands of kilometer journey for people. That is not just 20, that was just 20 kilometer for her. I went to that school, it was a private school. So now, I'm a kid who has gone from a government school to a private school now. Started learning a bit of English, things like that. But still, it was a normal school at the end of the day. The real things, sort of started happening. So all of these things sort of made me more very curious, or maybe compassionate. And maybe, I had a thought, I need to do things better for myself, my family, and, maybe solve all the problems. I, of course, didn't know what to do, how to do. But if I
Hmm.
look back, I'm able to put these things in words today. I had to solve a problem for my family. At that time, I didn't know, but I had to do something. That was the
Right.
feeling. right? The sort of big change, a real change came when I got a laptop. My mother, sort of using her like entire life saving, bought a laptop for me during Dhanteras Puja. So Dhanteras is very special for all of us. It happens before Diwali. I don't know
Yes.
if you know about it or not.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, she bought me a laptop. Then at the same time, India was going through that digital transformation. Mukesh Ambani had launched Jio for free. I'm still very thankful to him, and that's why I believe entrepreneurs have the power to change, lives and so much because Jio had changed my
Exactly.
life. I got so much of exposure because of internet, free internet, right? So started using that internet to explore things. Starting में तो मतलब like I was exploring how to hack Subway Surfer, uh, all those right,
Okay.
very basic, kiddish things. But the circumstances were such that I had to go for serious things, and with that I found about coding, technology. Then I ultimately found about entrepreneurship. Then I was just like, my mind was blown away. Like, what is this? This is something entirely different. Now I'm a kid in a small town in Bihar who knows entrepreneurship. Now he's just like reckless. He doesn't know what to do, how to do, but he's just like inspired to do something, and that inspiration has come from his
That
own
fire
background.
inside.
Yeah, fire inside. There's something,
Yeah.
I need to do. This is very cool. This is very nice, and all that. And fortunately, unfortunately, because I grew up in such situation, I was so much sort of had inspiration to again, do things, and started exploring. Got to know about ethical hacking. My initial interest, sort of were around ethical hacking and all that. Then did something happened, learned a lot of things. Canva kaise hota hai, you learned how to edit basic videos, designing, freelancing, all that. Then ultimately learned about web development, how to develop website, make websites. Then met with someone, started a startup called 2 trillions, failed in 3 months, but still happy because we did something,
Yeah.
like eighth grade, sitting in Bihar,
Huh.
background and building a startup. Like it was like, a whole different world. There's a whole divide between my physical world and the digital world I had.
And
So there was an
the
entire
process, the overall process teaches you so much with that, even if you fail.
100%, 100% true. So failed in 3 months. Met one of my cousin sister-in-law. Then we, she was very much passionate about doing something for the village. She had come from some other place. And then she had some plans, I had some plan, and we sort of started this thing called Mission Badlao. And what was the aim of that thing is he wanted to connect with villagers in and nearby, and then help them solve their problems. The first, what we did, we went to almost 1,300 homes and surveyed each and every home, understood what's their problems, what are their problems. Then we figured out the small things. They're not connected to government schemes. There are so many schemes. So we used to research about if this is the problem, what are the government schemes and how to connect both of them.
Hmm.
It's not the people. If even if they knew about the government scheme, there was so much of corruption happening between both the parties, and the people used to charge money. Like if you give this much money, then I'll give you this contract, this thing, and all that. So did that for almost 9-10 months. COVID was in between, and all that happened. Then at the same time, she was contesting for election, and this campaign was called Mission Badlao. She lost the election because there's something called caste voting, money voting, and all that, and
Yeah.
we were totally against it. And the big wins for us was the impact we created. That was whether it was getting people Ayushman Bharat cards, ration card, or planting 3,000 gulmohar trees around the villages and everything, distributing sanitary napkins and all that. So just imagine, I think I was in ninth grade that time, a ninth grader and young lady going to villages with the sanitary napkins. How did that feel?
Definitely.
Yeah, covering black polythenes and all that. So did all of that. 1,300 visiting 1,300 homes, sort of made us realize what are the problems. Of course, I knew problems from my life, but when you go and see other people's problem, you also realize things. So much of thing you observe a lot. There's so much of energy which comes into you. I think that has happened to me. And then, doing all this, I realized, the biggest challenge, I think the biggest challenge we can, as humans solve, maybe is that give everyone the right to education, quality education. Everyone had, needs to have the same level of access to opportunities, I believe. Because when I saw in the villages, people were, of course, facing problems with their health, employment, women empowerment, everything. But if you see at the core, it was all education. If everyone
Hmm.
is educated, if everyone is getting the right access, then most of the problems will be solved. So
Agree.
that's
Yeah.
when sort of a lot of research, a lot of ground insights made me sort of realize that if I have to dedicate my life, I don't need to build another ethical hacking system or something like that. or maybe I don't want to. By then, I was also exposed to AI and all that. I also wanted to build, fastest delivery apps and all that. But after, all those experiences, I realized I don't need that. I just maybe need AI to create better systems, a more equitable world, but not a, faster delivery. I'm not against it or something like that, but I just realized, that that's not my forte, but maybe this is, something I can do. So I started thinking of that, doing my research again, internet, laptop, thanks to free internet, and so many people I started reaching out, learning about things. Then what the simple thing I started was this, which was not a organization, like not initially started an organization. I started as a first like sort of a hobby, then converted into an organization called Learnly. We were tutoring kids around our home and all that, and we taught almost 20 kids for 9 months. Again, that had to sort of we had to let it go. I tried online courses and all that in that, but it failed. Had to let it go because I had to move out of my hometown now. So yeah, like these are the sort of how I grew up in my like surroundings and all that. Three organizations before I moved out of my home. That's ninth grade. After ninth grade, I moved out of home. So yeah, this is how I grew up in Bihar with lots of struggle, lots of fun, lots of memories, and lots of inspiration, and I think motivation for life in general. So yeah, that was. I think I don't know if I answered your question or not. I even
Amazing.
forgot the even
Yes,
I
really
forgot the
inspiring.
question.
Yeah, so the whole experience, and I think you showed you just told us everything you did. And I feel the whole journey was full of roller coaster. But like मुझे लगता है कि लोग के सक्सेस देखते हैं कि स्किल्स ने इतने लोगों को इम्पैक्ट किया, पर इतने जो फेलियर्स और पहले जो चीजें इनिशिएटिव यू टुक were also played role, but they aren't really shown. So that's awesome. I mean, amazing.
100%, Skillzo is just born out of all the experiences I've had, whether it was learning, mission, badla, or 2 3
Yeah,
lanes.
connecting the
It's
dots.
combination of all the experiences I've had.
Amazing. Okay, so talking about your Skillzo now, so what gap did you see in market which Skillzo is currently solving with?
Okay, so I think I mentioned about the education part and all that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do something around education. Now, growing up, I'd always looked up to mentors and all that, and I always struggled finding mentors. Always struggled finding opportunities, exposure, network, experiences and all that, practical and all that. And because we had lost that election and everything, I decided maybe and I felt losing that election and like so many failures was because that I didn't had right experiences, I didn't had right network, I didn't have money. It was just
Hmm.
hit and try with lots of jugaad. So I thought, I'll go to IIT, I'll prepare for IIT, and then, I'll get the right network, right exposure, right people to fund me. Then I sort of, against my will of my mother, I moved to Kota, which is the mecca of IIT preparation. मुझे लगा, I'll be able to do something. I was very confident. Now I should say I was very overconfident. I moved, I moved there, and then I couldn't arrange the money. Mom couldn't arrange the money after lots of hard work, lots of efforts, connecting, calling, I don't know, hundreds of people, but we couldn't arrange the money. So again, there was my dream and there was my depression, two things together.
Hmm.
But again, laptop, right? Started reaching out
Same
to
here.
people. Yeah, shit. I think it's raining, and I think that. Did you hear the lightning?
I did not. Did
Oh
that
shit! I
happen?
got scared. Yeah,
Okay.
this just happened. I got scared.
Oh my God. Okay, that's fine.
So I hope you won't put this on.
Yeah, no. It's still
So
recording,
yeah,
but yeah, that's fine. I'll edit.
yeah, it's okay, it's okay. So yeah, I went there, started reaching out to people, had a, like, I found a 3 day entrepreneurship course happening in Chandigarh. I fundraised my, my travel money and everything, went to Chandigarh. Then, there are sort of people, elite school people, IB school kids. Now I'm also in IB school, but yeah, at that time it was a different thing. Pitched my idea there, got my first investment. It was sort of a breakthrough for me.
Oh.
I found my mentors, people, sort of believed in me and all that. Now, what happened? I came from a place. Now I was at certain place. There was certain, certain amount of growth which had happened, and while I was sort of and interning at my mentor's company and all that, I realized the problem that why I'm looking for 100 other problems to solve, why I'm not looking back on my own journey and solve the problems I have faced, and if that same problem is applicable to millions and or crores of people across the world, across the country, right? So I found that problem, it was very vague at the time. Okay, I need to help school students get something. That was the initial idea. But now
Okay.
if you see at the moment, the idea is to help school students by principle, it's still to help school students learn about 21st century entrepreneurial skills, and we do that by giving them exposure, experience, and network. By exposure, you must have seen the opportunities we share in the WhatsApp community, the programs we do, whether it's in partnership with IITs, the universities that are across the world. Recently, someone got a scholarship to do a program at Oxford.
Yes, you
Similarly,
mentioned.
yeah,
Amazing,
similarly,
yeah.
similarly, people have done such courses at Harvard and things like that. I would just want to clarify they've not gone to Harvard or Stanford or any like Oxford for undergrad course or college course. They've just gone to there to do short courses. But still, if you see, the amount of happiness, the amount of knowledge that are gonna gain out of those experiences is gonna be immense. And I hope that few of our students go to universities abroad and do good things
Awesome,
and come
awesome.
back and help India for sure.
Yeah, definitely. They should at least contribute something to India for sure. Yeah.
Yes. So again, I'll just summarize and say that we are solving the problem of exposure, experience, and network. So this the gap of a divide. There's a divide, and we are just trying to fill that.
And I think India definitely needs that for sure. I mean, personally, like me being from a tier 3 city as well, from Raipur, I see that in my whole like community around me, I don't feel any like a good network of people who I can connect with, and I just feel stuck in between on what I should really do. And then I kind of figure out myself, and then I'm just doing some initiatives. So I think skills are definitely giving so many opportunities I usually see in the WhatsApp community, and I just kind of explore, and I feel like I got few opportunities which I did not know. But when saw in Skillzo's community, I felt like wow, this exists, and I just went and then I kind of explored. So which is amazing.
Thank you so much. I'm going to use this for my marketing. Second thing,
Yeah,
I shall help you connect with few good people in Raipur, and that's what we stand for, Skillzo. So I think Skillzo has a good network in Raipur also.
I would
I
love
shall
that.
definitely sure. I shall definitely try connecting with few
For
people.
sure. Okay. So talking about your Ignite Bharat right now, I saw that you develop entrepreneurship mindset in small town cities for high schoolers. So how do you do that? And as you mentioned, getting mentors is a difficult task. So how do you make sure to bring those top mentors who help in developing those entrepreneurship mindset? And how do you do that? How do you develop that mindset?
Yeah. By the way, I've been to Raipur, and now answering your question, Ignite Bharat is in a sort of initiative where the initial plan was, and still that plan exists, is that the idea was that we'll go to small towns, do entrepreneurship boot camps, courses, and all that. That's why we created a whole content and recorded a course and everything, lectures, part like pitch competition and everything. I started it from my own hometown, that is in Bihar, Motihari. It's also known as Champaran. Recently is famous because people are founding that George Orwell was born there. So that's the place where I come
Okay.
from, and that's where we started this initiative. The initial idea was to help 10,000 students do that course and all that, but we could only sort of reach 3,000 students. So that 7,000 is still in my head that I need to reach that. I need to reach that. And now talking about your the thing that how did we get the mentors? Of course, it's tough to get mentors in considering they all of them are running their own businesses. They're involved in something. But I think the way you approach, the way ask them really matters a lot. The intent with your approach, right?
Hmm.
I think that is something which is like very important. And you need to
Agree.
also show you need to show your passion and seriousness. It's not that you're just asking them to help you. You also need to show that what kind of effort you're putting. They also want to notice it, right? So and accordingly they're going to help you. So show that you're serious, so that you're really genuinely passionate about it. Now how would you show that? There could be 100 ways to do it, right? Either that is with the writing a follow up every weekend, or just like creating content or doing a lot of activities which sort of shows them that okay, this guy is actually passionate. This is not
Yeah,
just
serious.
another small thing for him, right? So they would also like to invest their time in it, right? So yeah, I think pretty much that. Just be clear about what are you doing, why you are doing, and why do you need that mentor, why not someone else, and have a very right intent, authentic intent. Just say whatever whatever you feel. Just be authentic. Okay, this is my purpose. This is what I want to do, and this is why I need your help. And please help me. And have that of course standard things like respect and all that in your messages, and the way you communicate your things.
Got it. Now, Adarsh, there
And
is
think
one
about
more.
this podcast. think about this podcast, right? This is happening because we have been communicating. We've been trying to find a time. At times we couldn't do it because you also notice, okay, this guy is also serious about doing it. I also noticed this
Yeah,
person actually wants me on their show. So even after delays, even after a lot of not communicating, postponing 2 3 times, we are here today because we both
yes,
were serious. Okay, that I want to go on a serious show, and you were like, okay, I want a guest, right? So
exactly.
just a small example.
Consistency is the key.
100%.
Yeah, awesome. So now, addressing one more problem, Adarsh, I really see that in India, like as you went to IIT, parents also have this mindset in them for their kids. They want to their kids to have a stable job in the future, and they are not really ready to go into this entrepreneurship path because they feel it's risky, and they don't feel that good. They don't see that good value in the future. So, how do you solve that issue with parents? How do you convince them?
I think the situation has improved a lot in last few years, especially after
Okay,
Shark
they
Tank.
became open-minded.
Yeah, I think a lot, but still, I think there will be people who will be concerned.
Okay,
And I think you need to understand is that uh, don't treat your parents as their enemies. They don't want you to start up. Just understand that why they're concerned. There are certain reasons, their own experiences. They grew up in a different era, and this is an entire different era. So make them understand, right? Have some courtesy to go and explain what you're doing, right? I still take time and try to explain my mom that what I'm trying to do, what I'm doing. She doesn't understand it, but it's my job to always try once in a while that, okay, this is it, this is it, this is what it is. I'm
yeah,
studying also, I'm doing this also, all that. So have that courtesy to go explain. Be ready to hear hard things maybe from them. It's just that they're concerned, they're worried कि what would happen, मेरा बच्चा कैसे करेगा, how would it do or how would she do, and all that. So go communicate, convince them, and like show them that, "Okay, this is your backup plan," and things like that. Of course, you can't share each and everything with them. They can't understand each and everything, but just go and take the first step of communicating. And once you start communicating, everything just like happens. Like you find the next step. Once you start communicating, you will also understand what they want, what are they expecting, and how to go about it. It's a very individual thing also. Everyone has a different kind of environment in their family, but starting communication would be something which we can sort of do try.
definitely, and come up with a solution. That's awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
so I just have I just want I just feel this problem happens with me, and I feel that might be a problem for others as well. So starting a business is so whenever we're starting a business, we start those with some assumptions we have. So we see that problem and frustrations which is coming in ourselves, and then we are thinking and assumption having that assumption that चलो ठीक है दूसरों को भी ये प्रॉब्लम होगी पर लेट्स से कुछ लोगों से हम लोग वैलिडेट कर लिए प्रॉब्लम कि ठीक है उन लोग को भी है लेट्स से दे आल्सो डोंट गेट अपॉर्चुनिटीज इन देयर सिटीज पर हाउ विल वी नो कि वो ग्लोबली इतना फिजिबल है आइडिया कि नहीं सो हाउ विल वी फाइंड दैट
I think one thing is talking to people directly, primary research, I would say. But that also doesn't reveal so many things. So I think you can start with maybe secondary, primary research. Then the best way to, sort of validate is to try it. Just do a small thing, try it. That's the only
टेस्टिंग आउट
way I would.
एवरीथिंग
Yeah, just try
ओके
it, bro. Like, just go and do the work and try it.
सो टेस्टिंग आउट टेकिंग फीडबैक्स गेटिंग फीडबैक्स एंड देन कीप ऑन
Yes,
इम्प्रूविंग
do your research, primary, secondary, both.
hmm
Understand what you want to do. Build something around it. Maybe a WhatsApp group, anything which is applicable to your thing. Maybe a prototype in someone's case, or like anything. And just sort of try to get some traction and some sort of thing. Different businesses, different startups would have different criteria. A deep tech startup, physical product of startup, something would have a different criteria for validation, and a product base would have a different based, sort of way to validate. So yeah, it's a very business to business kind of thing.
ऑसम और एक और क्वेश्चन मेरे को ये भी मेरे को बहुत प्रॉब्लम फेस होती है स्टार्टिंग अ बिजनेस इज इजी पर स्केलिंग इज अ बिट ऑफ चैलेंज सो हाउ विल वी सो एनी एडवाइस और एक्सपीरियंस मतलब कैसे इसको स्केल कर सकते हैं एफिशिएंटली
Don't start with the wrong motivation. If you start with the wrong motivation, you can't sustain it. So
Okay.
I think yeah, your motivation level, I think it really matters here, and your ability to take feedbacks also really matters here. So I think have that open mindedness to hear people, understand from the people using it, your mentors, you yourself. Sometimes you like कि नहीं मुझे करना ही करना है, but sometimes the world is not ready for that. Sometimes the timing is not right. ठीक है. So yeah, I think there's so many like factors, also parameters which are not in our control when you're building anything. So yeah,
Hmm.
like be open and have the right motivation when you start.
Awesome. Okay. So, lastly, any skill or so what skills will you really advise high schoolers to have right now, currently for 21st century? They can have learn.
Of course, learn all these things, AI, designing, this, that, learn everything, entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial skills, and all that. Two things apart from all these famous and standard things. I think, I don't know if they are also famous. First is like for me, original thinking. Learn to think without ChatGPT, learn to think without, like so much of,
AI tools definitely needed.
yeah, AI tools or anything like that. Like,
Yeah.
so what I probably mean maybe is a better word for you. It might be creativity,
Hmm.
and not even creativity, but original thinking, right? Don't just copy something like that. Have original thinking and learn communication skills. You need to use AI. You need to communicate well with it.
Yeah.
So learn
Exactly.
that. You need to communicate with AI. You need to communicate with your consumer. You need to communicate with your teachers, family members.
Everyone.
I'm a teacher example maybe because I'm a student, right? So yeah, with your investors, with your customers, with the people, everyone, with everyone, you need to communicate. And
Hmm.
I think it's a really, really great skill to have. So two skills: original thinking and communication.
आई थिंक मेरा भी इतनी डिपेंडेंट हूँ मैं लाइक चैट जीपीटी में आई जस्ट गेट मतलब सारे आंसर्स उसी से पूछती लाइक इवन दो सिली क्वेश्चंस आई एम नॉट यूजिंग माई ब्रेन विच इज आई थिंक वी शुड स्टॉप डूइंग दैट एंड आई थिंक यू
Yeah, like
मेंशन्ड इट्स अ वेरी स्ट्रांग थिंग
yeah, like I'm not saying that don't use it or something like that,
बट
but
डोंट गेट डिपेंडेंट ऑन एवरीथिंग
I mean, ultimately, we'll all will be dependent on it, okay? But just make sure you're not only dependent on it. You can't like sort of see ChatGPT is going to be there with you, so it will always help you. But if everything is sort of like you can't like think without ChatGPT, then that might be a problem. Then you're like everyone because everyone sort of write those simple prompts and generate those things. So what would be something which would be unique to you? That would be your original thinking. Right. And how you would communicate that, whatever message you're generating or whatever, work you're generating, how do you communicate that? Did you generate all this questions from ChatGPT?
Yeah, I usually no, I mean few of them, but थोड़े बहुत I just took from myself. पर थोड़ा सा
Yeah.
brain मैंने भी use किया and then the both ChatGPT और मेरा brain combined and this
Yeah.
questions were born.
That's how it should be, the combination of both.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So thank you so much, Adarsh. मैं मतलब literally पूरे देर सुनते रही इतनी like पूरी स्टोरी ना मेरे अंदर like माइंड में आ रही थी कि यार क्या हुआ उस समय and then that phase came and then what initiative you took. Amazing. I think you're doing a amazing job. India needs entrepreneurs like you. And so what's the best way to reach out to you, Adarsh? Like where do you be very active? And if you can link, मैं link कर दूंगी community का channel you have with Skillzo. But what's
Yeah.
the best way to reach out to you if anyone wants to hear more about you?
I think
And
my number is public. You just need to be smart enough to find it. So reach out
okay,
directly to me on WhatsApp, and just to say, maybe LinkedIn would be the best way.
got it, noted.
Huh?
So I'll link
Yeah.
the community channel in the description below.
Sure, sure, sure. And also, as we talked about you reaching out, maybe one simple advice I have, for people, who'd reach out to anyone, not only me, like anyone, just don't text, "Hey, how are you?"
Yeah,
Don't start
that's
conversation, "Hey, how
that's
are you?"
useless.
And there's nothing after that. I
Hmm.
on daily basis, I receive like text like, "Hey, hi," and I just sort of don't like those texts. It's just hey or hi, right? I don't because that sort of distracts me for the original messages, original people, who are asking for something, right? Who need
Hmm.
something. I have texted so many people for help, and people have been kind to me. They have helped me, so I can't keep that kindness to myself. I also need to share it. I need to give back to the world. That's what
Yeah,
I've been, trying to stand for, and I'll be standing for my entire life. So please don't text anything like that to anyone. People get
sure.
distracted because, and they miss the real
Audience
message.
who are listening to this, make sure don't do that. Message something which you actually want to ask and genuinely ask some relevant questions. And
Yeah.
definitely, Adarsh, everyone will keep that in mind. And thank you so much for being here. It was amazing, literally amazing talking to you. And then I'll see you in the next time. So thank you so much. And do share me
Sure.
with
Thank
some
you so much for
networks you
having me.
have for Raipur.
Sorry.
Do
Sorry.
share me with some networks you have for Raipur. I would love.
100%. Sure,
Awesome.
sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Adarsh. Bye bye. Okay.